What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lieutenant Nathaniel Flint of the Landship Scorpius, and strangely today we're here with another Rivet Wars video. No, we're not talking about that, but update 51 is out if you haven't seen it already. Not talking about it. So in an effort to absolutely not think about update 51, I went looking. I found some things that were kind of cool. I found some profiles of the original modelers who helped model some of the Rivet War things, and they had them in their profiles and stuff. And I was just kind of jumping around, looking at some cool stuff that we hadn't seen before, and I came across Ted Terranova's art station. I've learned that this is not new to some fans, but no one was really talking about it. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I did a video about, you see the title down below. I did a video on this, but I found some cool concepts. There's cool pictures of some models, including the large, con bodies that went to conventions. Oh man, to figure out where those went. However, I found one called Rivet Wars Video Game Concepts, and it blew my mind. For those of you who don't know, I've been talking about Rivet Wars as a video game for a long time. I'm pretty sure I did a video about it. And I have a lot of thoughts. This was a really cool collection. Today we're going to go through it, and I'm going to talk about, from a game design standpoint, a video game standpoint, what these images are, what I think the gameplay would have been, and my opinions, again, reiterated, about what a Rivet Wars video game could kind of look like, and how I think the direction would have gone with these. These are hyper personalized. I just want to throw that out there. Also, that said, just because we're talking about video games and Rivet Wars, Ted Terranova worked on Rise of Nations, Rise of Legends. This is one of my favorite games from childhood. I still have my CD of this. Super cool. I just wanted to throw that in there real quick while I had you. But let's get into these images about the Rivet Wars Reloaded video game. I'll try to be quick. I don't want this video to be too long. So as we see, this is one of the first images. We have our Share a Me up here with some options, setting, information, a home screen. We can see some units, and then these seem to be heroes, and then there are units underneath the heroes. So we can see here the Wolverine, who is named General Parsons. We can see that they have some stuff here, 100, whatever this blue thing is, 100, this red, maybe plus sign, so that could be health. We see that they are 8 level, I'm assuming, 8 stars. We can see what they command underneath them. So we have a General Parsons, they have some infantry, some rocket cycles, some hammer pounders, some ostrich tanks, but they also have 4 General Parmans. So I'm assuming that is meant to be generic for cavalry. We can see some things about General Parsons here, that they have blast attack, that they have gas immunity, and this that we haven't seen, which looks something like a spearhead, like an arrow going into a blast with several other arrows moving. So that looks kind of like something like a spearhead, like they can attack and push people out of a space. Very interesting. We can see that there's an attack icon that appears, and the Blight are moving over a line that has formed. And we have here is now Major Jaeger Moldenstein, but it was Jaeger Koenig back in this day, is moving into the space, probably showing a combat. So what I think we'll notice from a lot of these images right off the bat is that these are kind of really hinted at being a mobile game. I will save my thoughts on that for the end, but these really come across as being mobile specific. So with this, we're seeing one of those mobile games like that is kind of taking after Risk. I don't remember any of the examples. There's a World War I game that does this, where it's kind of like an area control. So you amass units based on point costs or based on your resources that you hold in your area, and then you build up like groups, like little armies or little battalions across like your territory, and they're all based on sections. And it's like Risk. You're trying to take and control areas of your territory based on who they have stacked up. So next up, I saw something that my heart kind of dropped a little bit, but it's still a neat visual. We see one of those like Fallout or the adjacent, the stolen ones, that underground base building games where people arrive or leave. We have kind of opening. It's supposed to be a bunker. We can see some like air vents built in here, like what you would see from bunkers of the World War I and World War II era. We can still see General Parsons here and his levels of what he has for stuff with different levels. And then we see that as you go down, as you unlock stuff, or as you spend premium currencies, you have areas. So here's one of like a digger, and it's digging out more area that they have unlocked as an old mining wheel with a thing here. But we can see that the different rooms are, I'm assuming, the different things that they have available to them. So we can see a rocket cycle room. We can see General Parsons is up here with Jeremy, but we can also see that there's like a General Parsons room down here. We can see some ostriches. One of them is being worked on. That's pretty cool. We can see some hammer pounders. One of them's got a guy on here. We see a rare model of like a rifleman with no helmet, because they're just kind of round. We have barracks down here. We have some sort of resource collection where one of these squares is dark. So we can see a few of these squares, but one of these is dark. And then we have these. So it looks like it could be oil or something similar. And then we have a steel foundry. So this is kind of like gathering the resources you would need. This would be time-based, or you would spend premium currency to get it a lot bigger. And you would get resources probably to unlock additional rooms. So you have the options to get more stuff. And then you would have some kind of build menu where you could get another ostrich, you could get another artillery, you can do more with your barracks, things of that nature. And then it's got the visual of the elevator going up and down. Just interesting. And then we have a look at what it would look like on a mobile screen. Again, kind of a mobile game. So as much as I think that this mobile game type, like the base building underground, is a little overplayed, and at the time that this would have come out, I believe the Fallout game was still suing people for stealing their game, basically. But this is interesting. It would have caught some people's attention. People who didn't know Rivet Wars might think that this was like stealing from another game and being a cheap knockoff, since it's like a steampunk version. The Fallout game is like a Fallout, is that Atom Punk look. So it may not have stood on its own, but the fact that this isn't all that the game was thought of as being is very interesting. And the fact that there was more outside of the game, these are game concepts. These could be several different concepts in order to pitch a game studio. So I guess that doesn't all need to be one game, but all these together definitely does elevate, and it would have had more value. Next up, we see a different type of battle than this overworld kind of one. We're seeing more of an RTS styled game. So this is just one of the images. It's just one of them, right? Yeah, this is just one of the images. We're seeing a different art style. So actually all of these are in a kind of a different art style, which is pretty cool. We're seeing the Wolverine here fighting Sturmrad. We can see a little mono wheel that is done in this art style. We can see that there are some Blight Troopers up here. Actually, this is the hero unit, the sniper, Jaeger Koenig. And we have riflemen and an ostrich down here. We can see that we have options to, I'm assuming, deploy, where we have artillery, we have cavalry, and we have the more riflemen. Now, based on all these other things we've seen, if this is the same game, so these are kind of like who we have in reserve to spawn on the map as we're fighting these. We have some ruins and stuff that are pretty cool to see, but we also see this like little ruin area with a yellow circle. Everything about game design is telling me that that's an important building. So my thought in Rivet Wars context is this is probably a strategic objective. So the Blight players are trying to hold or keep. Oh, then we have one over here that is similar. Yeah. So these are like a special area. They could be spawns. So you could drag and drop someone into the spawn and they move and fight and blah, blah, blah. So this is interesting. We can have some things over here. We also see that we have options for a gas attack and a blast attack, but we see that something is like shaded in. So in games like this, they're like little military games, you can sometimes get special abilities so that you as the player have something to do during a battle, not just watch your guys duke it out. And these are on a recharge. So we see that the player has used whatever this ability is, and now it is on a recharge. And then they could probably use a blast attack to click here and like bomb someone. Very interesting. And here we have kind of a different look, but it's actually so we're missing that. We're seeing more of the map, but it's an alternate way to do the UI, the graphics interface, GI. And we see the same thing. This is kind of refreshing after use, and these are on the side instead, leaving more of the screen open. We don't see that other thing to spawn little guys. Another option to handle a similar gameplay mechanic. I'm not seeing anything different here. And this is actually one of the ones that excites me the most. Here we have a different view, and I do think this is different. I think this would be bonkers to be the same game, but we have a different look. This is more Rivet Wars based. We have some things that in a mobile game would just be used to mold the map. So I don't think these are tank traps. I think these are tank traps. But we have options that are kind of some rubble that mean that people can't go into it. We have these that are either tank traps or minefields. We can see an infantry is within this one here. We can see that we have some Rivet War buildings. We have some oil or resource gathering nodes. So we have two allied here and a Blight one over here. And we have this one that's like a little factory behind this one right here, this artillery. That's pretty cool. We can see that it uses the grid system. So as they're showing with this allied Sturmrad that is green, which is interesting in and of itself, that they have a certain amount of either movement or attack based on the grid system. This would be more than 2 diagonals in our game of Rivet Wars, but for a mobile game, for balancing reasons, they might have a different way that they do distance based on what the gameplay is going to be. We also see a cool little allied Schlitten down here, a machine gun, and a Blight rifleman down here. So that's kind of cool. Again, these are probably just quickly done up for a proof of concept. So I bet you all of this is the range of this Sturmrad for the allies, and it's depicting all this range, and then they can attack this person or this person. So again, really cool how this is set up. This is what I think more of when I think of a Rivet Wars video game, is kind of putting in either the Rivet Wars the game into the digital, or putting a Rivet Wars like game with altered rules into it. We can see that there's an oil counter up here. We can see that someone has collected an MG08 with a defense of 0, a movement of 1, a health of 4, and a range of 2. It's currently on grass. So that's this guy here that we can see. Very interesting indeed. And this just really excites me. I do feel that this is just a better direction for a Rivet Wars game. Honestly, I really do. I like seeing the things that were either ripped or stolen or redone, or I hope they were made maybe hastily for a Rivet Wars thing. Maybe these were the buildings or other things that we were promised if Rivet Wars did stuff down the line. This could have been more classic Rivet Wars in a future like Kickstarter, where some of these things are. I do love the idea of some alternate units. We kind of got this with cross-faction cards a little bit. Rivet Wars, the board game, is all about the models. So I would have loved to have had a allied version of a machine gun, blight, rifleman, things like that. I always like that direction for the game. I do think that is pretty cool. There's some design space left there. I don't think it has to smooth out the 1-for-1 on each side too much. It could still keep the asymmetry. But I do like this kind of stuff. And for a video game, it doesn't hurt anything. It's just your art direction. So I would hope that the allies would have a different thing than a Schlitten and had a different like machine gun setup. And like the Blight would have a Piccolaba and would have not just a Blight rifleman. And last but not least, we see this is definitely more stylized than an actual game thing. Another one of the overworld. We can see some writing on the map. I wonder if this is like the Rivet map, if you guys remember that. But this is definitely more stylized. There isn't any direction with anything here. These are the guys from this part. And they're just kind of here with health. They have an arrow pointing into an area. I guess you could call this a region, but these aren't really like designed for regions that you would see in a mobile game. And then it's like attack, get in the fight with little guys. So this would have been like a part of like the ads or something to get you into Rivet Wars, the mobile game, and kind of what that would look like stylized. And that's all we have for this rumored Rivet Wars game that never came to be. So I have some thoughts. First off, this looks like it's taking several game concepts from the mobile game world, specifically the wargaming, Risk-esque mobile gaming world. And it's kind of, if we assume this is all for one game, it's a pitch for one game, it would have been, I guess, bigger than those games. And it would have been better. Like there are these types of games, there's these types of games, and there's these types of games in the mobile game war game world. None of them are unique. So Rivet Wars would kind of be building off of what other games have already done. But the fact that they would all be in one game, it's not just this like Fallout ripoff, or this is like a Risk, or like, I don't know, Territory War. I don't know what the other mobile game that does this a lot. This ripoff. And it's not like a Toy Soldiers or a Tower Defense ripoff where you spawn a bunch of guys that you have and then wait for these to cool down so you can shoot people. Like, the fact that it's all of these together does elevate it. It is about the world. It is about resource management and base building side. Then you can come out here and do this. You can come out here and do this. Now, one of my negatives is I'm not thrilled about a Rivet Wars mobile game. I understand that for Rivet Wars to expand, especially with Update 51, nowadays, it would need to prove itself somehow. And the path of least resistance is a Rivet Wars mobile game that would get out to the most amount of people, and it would have gotcha mechanics to generate some form of income and basically have brand recognition out there in the world. People would start knowing what Rivet Wars is, and looking at things. Maybe you could bring more people to the board game. I always thought that a video game would bring people to the board game because the board game's magic is in the tactileness. It's in the models of heavy detail. It's in the customization. It's in how it feels when it's all set up and played. Like, it's not losing anything having a digital component. Scythe Digital is arguably worse than Scythe Physical. Scythe is a cool game, but Scythe Digital teaches people the rules, allows people to play by themselves when it's not game day or if they don't have someone close near them. And it allows people to play across long distances, even though it's not the way we want to play. There's still value in Scythe Digital, even though Scythe the board game is much better. So I think it would be the same way with Rivet Wars. That said, this is how I've always envisioned a Rivet Wars video game. Rivet Wars is kind of like Chess Plus. It's a cool RTS chess. It's grid-based. You put guys out on the field. They have rules of how far they can move, how they attack. Everyone's different. And then you play another team that also has rules and how they attack, and like all their dudes are different. It's asymmetric. Not everything's the same. It's just more advanced chess. And there's a mechanic for resources to respawn units like, your queen or your pawns, to keep a grinding effect going for the chess. You can easily break it up. So sorry, I'm rambling. So when I was in college, I went to college for video game programming and design, technically. I was terrible at programming, so I didn't really get far. In my college stuff, a normal game jam or end of final project kind of deal is a chess game. There are several points where that is an acceptable project to prove your mastery of a system or a programming language or something. Why? Because basically everyone knows how chess is supposed to work. It's also gridded, so it's pick things up, do this. It's simple, but it's also complex to prove your mastery of game making. Different pieces have different rules, so they have to be programmed. It's my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. That needs to be kept track of. Pieces can be lost or taken, but also pieces can be close to each other. So there's a lot to program in. It shows the mastery of different things. I have always thought that someone who graduated or someone who's just into game design and game programming, making Rivet Wars wouldn't be that difficult. I'm not saying that anyone could just pick up any programming language and immediately do it, but it wouldn't be that difficult. There is some challenge. There's more units in Rivet Wars. There's more rules. There's more possibilities than chess. But on a game design paper, it's a lot easier. It's grid based. It would have gotten 4 squares. There are some extra rules, but it is very doable. It is very easy to get a 2D version like this made, practiced, and then ready to use. At that point, you could have a make your own board mechanic because it deals with terrain. You could put down, this is road. I guess you could put down duck boards. I'm sorry. They're called trenches now. You can put down trenches. You could change what's dirt, what's grass, what's duck boards and trenches. Minefields or tank traps, rubble as a way to put up walls in a brick version. You can put down strategic objectives that they need to capture. You can put down starting units whose side, and boom, you have a map making mechanic that can be shared with other players or played against a robot. Super interesting. You can have a campaign mode. You could add the expansions. Adding more units is as simple as making a class this is the Trench Raider class, and it does these things, and it has these stats, and then it can be plugged into the rules as they are known. I just believe it can work. It can be as crazy as it needs to be. It can also be as a decent. You could actively tweak rules from a Steamforged Games side. You could say, hey, we have an idea for this new faction, the Nemoans. So we're doing a Nemoans update in the video game. This is their reveal. Why don't you try out some of their units, try out some of their things. We voted on the Minotaur mech. So, there's 3 versions of the Minotaur mech. Why don't you guys give it a shot? Do different games. We'll see how they work. Oh, this Minotaur mech is crazy overpowered. All right. So the community is screaming out against this Minotaur mech. This version, we're not going to do that. They voted it. It's kind of been load balanced. And then you announce everyone loved this in the video game. We did X amount of things. We were able to see how it works. We were able to show you, the community, how it works as a small DLC in the video game. We're going to take them back and still work on them, but go to this Kickstarter Nemoan faction. And then everyone's all excited. We got to see some units. We got to play like a thing in the game version. And we got to do this thing. And then it's done. You can also do the same thing with, we're going to be doing this. It is a thing. It's a Kickstarter. And if you guys like it, we'll add it into the video game pretty easily. You know how it is. There's value in doing a video game. I think there's a value doing it this way. And then, of course, this is easily scalable. A 2D chess-like, Rivet Wars-like game can be upgraded. You can upgrade to 3D models. You can animate them. You can upgrade to a 3D game. Now you have something that's more like, what is it called? War Tactics? Tactics War? You have something that's a little more 3D. You can have different maps. And then you can upgrade to that. That is harder, but you already have the game mechanics down. So if it does well down the road, you can upgrade. And then you can be like, oh, here's 3D. Look, they all have fun animations. Isn't that funny? Or isn't it cool to see how this Sturmpanzer walks? Or how this guy reloads his gun as an idle animation or something like that. That kind of stuff is cool. You can upgrade it with more units, with more gameplay styles. You could do a beach landing. You could do the glider one with the gliders that glide in, and then you have to spawn at a certain point. Those things are available and pretty cool. I do think that there is value in this. I would love to get a game jam together as a proof of concept and get this going. So at the time, I kind of pushed this to Ted. And he kept telling me over and over, that's nice. Please don't pursue that. We have stuff in the work. We have ideas. We have things for the video game that we want to do. Please do not pursue that. And now I know that that's true. There was all this stuff in the works. Who knows how many meetings he had with people trying to pitch them some type of Rivet Wars game. It looks like it was a lot of mobile teams. But man, would it have been cool when I was actually programming a lot if I pursued this. And I would love to do that nowadays. If Steamforged Games is like, do it. If you can do it, do it. I would 100% probably drop everything and jump into something like this. Try to get a game jam together, stuff of that nature, and just hyperfixate on this. But this is really cool. I thought this was a cool, hopefully short video where we could go through this. We could talk about the implications of the game mechanics of this. I think it's really neat. I truly do. I really like stuff like this. So hey guys, a cool, unique video. Who would have thought all these years later we're still discovering some unique Rivet Wars classic stuff that is coming out of the woodwork. I don't know how I would have missed this. Some people were not surprised when I shared this information, but I, again, never saw this. So I think this is pretty awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching. I have a Rivet Wars playlist, and I have a whole bunch of stuff in the description for where we are talking about Rivet Wars, which is things like the official Facebook group, but also the Discord. A lot of people are leaving Meta, so the Discord is becoming a little more active and a little bit more things. There's the Steamforge Game Discord with the Rivet Wars channel, but it's also the Rivet Wars fan Discord down below. And you will see that list of links down below. Let me know what you would have wanted out of a Rivet Wars video game. Do you want a first-person shooter? Do you want an RTS? Do you want like a chess-like game like this? Do you want Rivet Wars but digital? Do you want a mobile game? Do you want like a resource management sim or an area control sim like some of the like Risk or some of the World War I mobile games are like this? Let me know, like, how do you feel about this? And let me know, do you want to see like an Allied machine gun nest, a Blight marksman, or like the rifleman kind of deal? Like, what do you want to see? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I appreciate you. Hang in there. We're doing our best, white knuckling it and ripping out our nails trying to hang in there, but we'll hang in there. So I will see you guys in the next video. Update 51 is out if you haven't seen it. And let me know down below. This was fun. This was a nice find during this time. And this was fun to go through. Thank you guys for watching. Check out the rest of my channel. I also do steampunk videos, or I will be doing more. It's kind of all Rivet Wars all the time now, but I do have some plans for some steampunk videos. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.